listening to the Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to pillagingJustForFun.com. That's PJ4F.com, the only Raider fan site made by Raider fans for Raider fans. Tune in every week wherever podcasts are found. Call in and leave a message to be played on air at 408-909-PJFF. This episode brought to you by Creative Media Design Studio. Check them out at creativemediamonterey.com. Hey, yo, it's time to pillage another podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Stapler. What's cracking, Jay?
Oh, another week, man. I'm glad to be back in the studio with your boy Kenny over here. We're having a good time. It's already started, fellas.
It's already begun.
Yes.
Up here in the crow's nest.
It's just begun.
It is
Jimmy
only
Cassidy.
just begun. Your voice is much better than my voice.
I'm not going to argue with that.
You're the crooner. You're the crooner of the show. Just remind everybody, follow us on Twitter and IG, the Pillaging Podcast. We're on Facebook, but I think I'm going to be shutting that down. I'm going to be deactivating my Facebook account after all the...
Oh, yeah? You saw that shit?
Yeah. But then again, it's like maybe it's too late. You feel me?
I mean, if you've been on Facebook, your shit's already out there. So deactivating it ain't going to save you.
I'm not active on Facebook.
That shit ain't going to do, ain't going to do nothing.
No.
Hey. Just post Raider stuff. What are they going to do then?
We got a good show for you tonight. We got Levi Damien coming up. We got Raider Cain, as always. Looking forward to that.
Always.
He's got some hot, unfiltered truth for you this week.
It's going to be a little saucy.
Yeah. We got quite a few of your callers. A lot more callers coming in the last few weeks. We got some unrecognizable phone numbers over here, so I'm excited for that.
That's a good thing.
Shout out to everybody that's been listening, now into the thousands of listeners.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging. I'm actually, I'm just thankful.
Yeah, real thankful.
Very much so.
Real thankful.
So that's cool, man. And then also in Pillaging news, we got the Android app dropped this week, finally.
Finally.
Google got their shit together. Google, not quite as big of an operation as we are. So you got to give them some time to catch up. But yeah, so if you guys don't know, the Pillaging app now available on both iOS and Android, which means I now have my own app on my own phone.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That's nice. I've had it for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, well, you iPhone users, I had to take it off the work phone, which is an iPhone, because
there you go.
Tomorrow is Friday the 13th, and it's my last day.
Yeah.
So moving on, I'll be dedicating my life full-time to the podcast because now I'm rich, bitch! Just kidding. I got a new job.
But it'd be nice, right? We could hope. We could dream.
More on that later. I'm working on a little something. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll bring that back around later. There'll be some opportunities for you guys to get involved here. We got a lot coming up for you after the off season, going into the regular season, and we mentioned that on last week's show. So don't want to reset that, but for those of you that are listening, just want to remind you more content coming from the Pillaging Podcast. If you like the show, we're trying to bring you more, and that's what it is. Also booked a pretty good guest today. Mm-hmm. Not going to jinx it, but it is a Raider legend. You're going to want to tune in for that. Also a shout out at the top of the show to Murph from Raider Fan Radio, who's kind enough to have me on this weekend. So I'll be going on the show, recording with them Sunday, and I don't know when that episode posts. I don't know what their production schedule is. It'll either be Sunday evening, I would imagine, or Monday morning. Right. So check that out. It'll be Kenny Stapler and Raiders Fan Radio. A little cross branding right there, trying to get each other's shows out there. As you guys know, I'm a fan of Raiders Fan Radio. Yeah, because I'm a Raiders fan.
Fan of Raider fans.
And I listen to radio.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
So, and a big shout out to the Raider Ramble. We'll be touching on them in the quick hit segment this week, which is about that time.
Yes, it is.
Ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Cordero Patterson was interviewed this week, and he had some comments about Marquette King. Now, I first read these comments in text, and I thought kind of one thing, and then I saw it in the video, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. But basically, CP84, I guess he was, right? I don't know.
Right.
We'll see what he is next year. He says King was kind of a diva, did things his own way, but he did like to have fun. Now, when I watched the comments in the video, it didn't seem so much like CP was bashing him. Right. He was affable. He was laughing. He seemed to be rolling with it.
Joking.
Yeah, but the point does remain that Marquette King was an outsider on this team, and I think that's the important point here.
And you know what, though, man? I mean, and not to defend him or anything, but punters and kickers, they're a different breed. Yeah. So they're going to be outsiders regardless.
Yeah.
And if you have a little bit of a diva attitude, as he's being described, even more so, right? Yeah. Even more so. So, I mean, you can't deny that. You can't deny it.
So, I mean, the Raiders are usually a band of outsiders, but if you're an outsider of the outsiders, then you get to stay outside.
Don't be an outsider of the outsiders, man. You got to roll with the outsiders.
You got to roll with the pack, right?
Yeah, man.
So, shout out to S.A. Mikey Jr. 06. Also, Pay Mac Attack is his handle on Twitter. But that's his at S.A. Mikey Jr. 06. You're going to want to follow this guy. Get him some more followers. He posted one of the most savage Photoshop pics I've ever seen in the history of Raiders Twitter. And I'm not going to say anything else because I want you to go, check it out.
Yeah, go look at that.
And give this guy a follow. He also does some pretty hype, pretty lit hype videos for the Raiders. So
dope.
Yeah, going on Rashawn Melvin that he just put out recently. So go check him out on Twitter and then find him on YouTube and follow him, subscribe to him. So shout out to you, Pay Mac Attack, S.A. Mikey. I hope I'm saying that right. There is a Mexican flag there, so I'm assuming it's S.A.
S.A.
As Chino XL said, I write more essays than incarcerated Mexicans. Hey-oh. That's a metaphor, in case you didn't realize it. But yeah, so CP, that's the facts. Now, Irvin has some comments of his own this week about Mark kicking. Right?
Yes, he did.
Now, kind of going back to the Pro Bowl, he had commented under King's picture where he was stunting with Talib.
Right.
And he said, basically said this ain't funny, posing with the enemy. This ain't jokes,
Right.
So he got on Twitter today, and as you know, Irvin likes to cut loose. And he was basically saying, your Twitter fans can't protect you between the lines. And as most of you guys listening, right?
This is true.
I mean, you ain't running out there.
This is true. Yeah.
I ain't running out there. I'm not a Bronx fan, but if the tables are turned, I ain't running out there to save you.
Nah.
Your mouth got you into trouble. Your leg's going to have to help you get out of it.
Yeah.
So I heard King was fast. I hope he's real fast. We already know he can run backwards real well because we've seen that a couple times. King, call your own number this year. I dare you. Irvin dares you. He has requested to be on the special teams unit during the 2 games against Denver and claims to have been granted permission and has actually been given fine money. Do you think this is true?
I don't know, man, but it makes for a great story. I love it.
It does. It does.
I don't know. I hope it is. I hope we do get to see Irvin out there on special teams against Denver. Just because he put it out there, now I want to see it.
Now it has to happen.
It has to happen now.
Now, fans got salty last year when Marshawn ran off the sidelines to protect his quote-unquote cousin, basically his good friend.
Yeah.
What happens now if Irvin runs off the sideline to kind of do the exact opposite? You're not going to be salty.
Well, there you. I mean, you're going to be like, damn it, but you're not going to be salty. But there's one great way of avoiding that. Just put him on special teams, and he doesn't have to run off the sidelines.
Yeah.
He can just get a good free hit.
There you go.
Let him get that free hit.
You let him take a flag?
As long as it's tasteful.
Tasteful. Okay. I guess much like pornography, I'll know it when I see it.
There you go.
So yeah. So Irvin, that was not all the comments he made, but that was his comments in a nutshell. Again, most of you guys listening probably already know that, but we had to throw our little 2 cents in there.
Of course.
Irvin, we got you, man. We'll be starting a Patreon account for Bruce Irvin for those of you that want to help chip in on that fine money. In case Gruden ain't with the program. We're going to help you out, Irvin. So let's get that trending on Twitter right now. Khalil Mack in the headlines this week.
All right.
So as you guys know, he has not signed an extension yet. Nothing has been done there.
Right.
He has also not shown up to the facility for the voluntary, emphasis, bold, all caps letters, voluntary training workshop that's going on right now at Raiders headquarters. A lot of stalwarts there right now. Marshawn Lynch right now. He's in a lot of those picks. Seeing Obi in a lot of those picks was very reassuring.
Yep.
But obviously Khalil Mack not in those picks. Now, this week I got on Twitter. I was kind of absent from Twitter on Monday and Sunday. I got on Tuesday just to see Raider Nation losing their goddamn mind again. And let me remind you, we are part of the Out of Pocket Sports Network.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of you getting out of pocket this week. People talking about trading Mac.
Oh, man, come on with that.
Have you lost your goddamn mind?
Come on with that shit. Yo, now you got to settle. Now you got to settle down.
For those of you still on that train, you can hand in your Raider passes at pillaging@gmail.com. Again, that is pillage just the number 4 fun@gmail.com.
And your Raider tickets. If you got any game tickets, you can mail them in there too.
Just push them over here. We'll just alleviate you from all those problems, all that stress. You can join King over there in the promised land.
There you go. There you go.
Now, if some of our listeners were on that train, I apologize for offending you. Actually, scratch that. I don't apologize because you're offending us.
Yeah, you offended us.
Mac's not going to get traded, okay? Now, I know some folks out there were like, well, let's take some offers. Okay, let's take some offers. I'm okay with that, just so I can sit back here and laugh at every single one of them. So, yeah, Mac coming in to the training facility when a contract isn't done yet is a good move. Probably not 100% his decision. This sounds like an agent decision.
Yeah, of course.
What if Mac gets hurt in the facility? Then you got problems. Now, it's a big if, but when you're talking about money like this, he's going to be due upwards of $65 million, probably north of that.
Definitely north of that.
You don't play around with money like that.
Right.
And you don't play around with the future of an all-pro defensive end, all-pro linebacker, perennial Pro Bowler, potential future Hall of Famer like that. You let this guy get his time to breathe. You hash out this deal, and he's going to be in here before camp. I mean, mark my words.
Yes.
So he's not going to risk anything prior to that. And I'm sure there's more to it. But McKenzie said it himself. This is going to be a big contract, and all sides are trying to make everything work. It's about the end result. One thing I know is that we love Khalil Mack, and we want to make him a Raider for life. For life!
For life.
We'll get through all the other stuff. We understand the business part of it. Everybody is aware of everything, and nobody is surprised. Everything on all sides has been positive. I can't stress that enough. Sure, we love for him to be here. He's such a positive force in the building.
Yes.
So that's your leader right there, Reggie McKenzie. He just told you what's up.
Yeah.
Why is everybody panicking, Che?
Because people are dramatic, man.
They are.
People get dramatic, man. Come on now.
Yeah.
This is not a big deal.
I wish I had some.
The man is.
Some dramatics music to cue up right now. I don't have that.
You should see. You got to be prepared, man, for all occasions. But he ain't going nowhere, and this is a man that is due. Okay, he's been productive for us.
Yeah.
So he is due his money. All right.
Pay the man.
Pay him, and there won't be no problems. All right.
That's it.
Don't get all sad. Don't talk nonsense. Don't be talking about trading him. Are you serious? The best player on defense that we have, arguably the best player we have.
Yeah.
Come on.
Arguably the best defense player in the NFL.
Arguably, right? Yeah. So that's just crazy. And this is the same people that were over here crying because we didn't get Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Come on now.
We got to start a new segment called They Killed Kenny because this shit is killing me, bro.
They killed Kenny?
That might be something right there. Just a little bit more on the subject. I said we touch on this. Ray Leonard Asperia, one of my favorite writers over at RaiderRamble.com. Make sure you check out RaiderRamble.com and the Spirit of Independent websites, considering Levi Damien, possibly the king of independent Raider sites, coming on tonight. Shout out to them. He put it well. He said in his recent Quick Slants article for the Ramble, he said, "You'd be a bumbling simpleton to think Mac, who is chiseled out of granite or vibranium for you new kids, isn't working out on his own."
Right.
For sure he is.
Hell yeah.
He's going to come in good shape.
Hell yeah.
With the big bankroll.
Yes, he is.
And he's buying everybody dinner when he gets there.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
I hope so.
Right?
Yeah.
That ain't
you got to do that. You got to do that. It's got at least once.
Yeah.
Gary
Conley, he's lifting but still rehabbing. Really can't do anything on his legs. He just had microfracture surgery, and that ain't no joke. So it looks like he's a ways off. The language coming out of the organization is he'll be ready in time for camp. I got question marks on that right now. Considering, my next comment, I'll just hit it right now. Because these are joined at the hip, possibly with the news about Reuben Foster today, that he's a piece of garbage.
You hear that, Night of Fans? You hear that, Night of Fans?
Somebody posted a statistic of how many 49ers have been arrested in the last few years on Twitter today. I don't forget the number, but it's an ungodly amount at this point. possibly this alters the way the draft shakes out.
Yeah.
And we already know it's not going to go as planned because last year didn't go as planned. This year's going to be wild too.
When does it ever go as planned? Let me ask you that, people. Let me ask you that, okay? When does it ever go as planned?
You know?
Okay, come on now.
That's why we haven't spent a ton of time on the draft because I kind of feel like we're spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
You guys know who some of our favorites are. We've touched on that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're going to be here for you on draft night recording.
Yes, we will.
That will be a live video stream if everything goes right this week.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So, I'm just saying that now the coin toss looms quite large because, more than a great majority of the mocks have us taking Roquan Smith in the first.
Yes.
Now, Smith and Edmonds are both prospects. They're both linebackers. But it's looking more likely now that possibly the 49ers take Smith. And I know a lot of you listeners aren't sold on taking Smith, and I'm not 100% on taking Smith in the first round either. But that does apparently skew things, and if that does happen, because I have the Niners taking Derwin James right there.
Right. With
Reed walking and them not really hitting on a safety spot.
Right.
I think that's a good fit for them. But this isn't a Niners podcast, so I digress. But what I'm trying to say is that really opens the door for a lot of corners to be there when we're picking at 10. Honestly, possibly all the corners to be there while we're picking at 10.
Right.
That could happen. Now, it's a possibility that James goes earlier than that, and it's a possibility that Ward goes earlier than that, or even Minka. But there's also a great possibility that all but one of those guys is sitting there for us at 10. And now with the news on Conley, it really raises some interesting questions, and I think we're going to touch on that with Levi when he comes on.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah. It definitely begs the question, right?
Yeah. But the bottom line remains, Reuben Foster, you're a piece of shit. And a lot of you guys that took Reggie to task for not drafting him.
Yeah. How you like Reggie now?
Yeah, and I'm not going to blame you. I mean, Jay and I were sitting here thinking the same thing.
Yeah. No, on that night we're like, whoa.
Yeah,
he's there.
You were big on Foster.
I was like, hey man, he's the top linebacker.
Yeah,
and he's there. We didn't expect him to be there. That was the biggest surprise, right? We didn't expect him to drop that much. But obviously, that's why we're fans and we're not the GMs, right? Because they get to see a little bit more about this person.
Yeah,
they get to see what his personality is like.
Yeah,
right. Obviously, they saw something that they didn't like, man.
Yeah, and it was weird. I mean, it was a weird time that night. I remember, Foster getting there. I wasn't quite privy to all the red flags. I knew there was something there with the medical staff. I didn't realize at that time it was as serious as it was, and I really can't recall how much of it came out pre-draft as much as what came out after the draft.
Right.
And then I also saw some of the red flags where, he does have mood swings, and whoever drafts him is going to have to deal with that and predict his volatile personality and stuff. So, I don't know how much of that was released to the public going into it. I feel more prepared for this draft this year than I did for last year's draft. But, now we see that those red flags were for real, and it's really kind of ironic that Conley's flags were right out there in the open. Raiders had said that they've done their due diligence. That all washed out, and now we're dealing with injury issues with Conley. So, I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I'm pointing at them, but I'm also pointing right back at us. But again, there was no injury history there.
But the things that were not that Conley was being knocked for, right? The off the field stuff ended up being cleared. Yeah. So they were right in that aspect. They did their due diligence and they figured out this guy's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right? He's cleared of all those. He was cleared of all that.
Yeah.
Right? So they weren't wrong, because if it wasn't for those off the field issues that Conley had, he would have gone much higher.
He would have.
Yeah, he would have gone much higher. So they were right for taking him there.
So in approximately 147 days, we're going to find out if that gamble paid off.
Right.
146 for you guys listening on Friday. By the way, there is a countdown tracker on pj4f.com. If you ever get curious, you can just stroll on over there.
Yeah.
We got a countdown to the draft too, which how many days away are we now? I think we're 14 days out, man. Yeah. We got a special guest for you guys. We actually got possibly two special guests for you guys on the draft night. One of the segments is going to be pre-recorded. Again, I'm not going to jinx that. And we're working on getting our brother Silver and Black 666 on the show.
Oh, yeah.
To be in studio that night. So he's been wanting to come on for the draft, and he was co-host one night. He was fill-in for you one night, and response was positive, and thought he did really well, man.
Hey.
So we'd be interested in having him on. He's also the voice of the song Gone, which is the name of it that you hear at the end of the show.
There you go.
Which for tonight only might be replaced by a little ditty done by yours truly.
Yeah.
way back when. I think that song is possibly 10 years old now. Older, maybe. But in relation to, we were sitting up here in the studio before the show talking about last week's fast food segment, which was surprisingly a big hit with all of y'all.
Right.
So we're going to continue to stay off topic.
Yeah, all the time.
Off season means off topic. But this song relates to that second verse. So possibly that's on there when you get to the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. If you want to hear your boy Kenny Stapler, his pre-podcast days.
Yeah.
When I used to rap.
Yeah.
I used to grip the mic, Che.
Yay.
I used to move the crowd, Che.
You were doing the damn thing.
I was.
You were doing the damn thing.
You can catch me here and there around the base, still gripping the mic.
There you go.
Occasional open mic appearance. It happens.
Yeah.
But I'm 40 years old, bro. Ain't nobody want to see a 40-year-old rapper.
Hey, man, it's not about how old you are. It's about how you feel.
Yeah, that's
how
true.
How old you feel, bro.
You know, that being said, they even talk shit on Jay-Z's last album. He's 46. I thought the album was fire. So
there you go. There you go.
I just try to stay out of the kitchen now.
There you go. Hey, Snoop Dogg's getting all kinds of rave reviews for his latest album, man.
He's got a game show as well.
He's got a game show, and he put out a gospel album.
As Jizzle said, diversify your bonds.
There you go. He's killing it, dude. He's raking it in. It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's a quick hit segment.
Yeah.
We're going to sit around here and we're going to wait for Levi Damien. But I got to tell you, Levi.
Hey, I'm not going to be a real patient guy now.
Now, we're going to wait as long as it takes for Damien. He's got a little something to take care of. We are going to take that time to have a short break.
Yeah.
We will see you guys on the other side. We out.
Peace.
All right, we're back, and we're joined by Levi Damien from Silver and Black Pride. How you doing tonight, Levi?
Doing real well. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good. Doing real good, man.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Thanks again for coming on tonight, for taking the time. We got a slew of questions for you. Let's start off, though, by letting these people know where they can find you online and what your website is.
Well, the website's Silver and Black Pride. It's part of the SB Nation network, so just silverandblackpride.com.
And, of course, you can be found on Twitter at Levi Damien. Is that correct?
That's correct. LeviDamien.
I've always quite liked your name, Levi. It's got sort of like a horror slasher vibe to it. It's got a little...
Kind of son of Satan sounds to it.
Yeah. It's got some swagger to it. I like it. It's right up my lane. Levi, first and foremost, man, I want to congratulate you on everything that you've built. I'm going to touch on that later, but I've been following you for some time. One of the first, if maybe not the first, independent Raiders news site out there, and you have grown quite the following, and you guys put out some really quality content over there. Silver and Black Pride is one of the first places I go for write-ups and for Raiders articles, and your chat section also quite lively as well.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So just some questions here. We have our co-producer, Cain. He's got some questions for you, too. He can't join us because he's also remote, but we'll be talking to him later in the show. So I just wanted to start off. He had a kind of a general question just to lead off with. What you think about some of the moves Reggie and Gruden have made in the offseason so far? How do you feel about this Raiders offseason thus far?
Well, I think some of the moves are they were a little under the radar, kind of savvy moves, like, of course, Rashawn Melvin and Tahir Whitehead were pretty good moves. They're not the top tier guys, but if you look at a lot of the top tier guys, they were commanding pretty high prices. And with the way that John Gruden was looking to kind of rebuild this team to the kind of team that he likes, he wanted to bring in a lot of guys, and he did do that. And in order to do that, he wasn't going to be able to make any big splashes. And so when you consider those two guys, Whitehead being he's one of the only guys who actually got a 3-year deal, and then Rashawn Melvin, who's kind of an up and coming guy who could he's in a 1-year deal, but he could. He like I said, he's an up and coming guy, so he could prove himself worthy Jordy Nelson's a pretty good pickup as well when you consider the kind of qualities that John Gruden really looks for, especially in his receivers. Really good route runners, smart guys. And I think the idea that he's slowing down considerably is a little bit overblown, because if you look at what he did with when Aaron Rodgers was healthy last year compared to the rest of the season, right, it's kind of night and day situation. So those three pickups I look at as being very good, and then there are a few other ones that are really just kind of grinder type guys like Keith Smith and Kyle Wilbur, stuff like that, special teams guys that just kind of do the dirty work and whatnot. Those are the ones that I look at the most. And the DePaulo, the guy they got to replace at long snapper, is a pretty decent sign there, as far as like going out and finding good long snappers that could come in and replace the kind of work that John Conda did for 11 years. As far as that goes, it's a pretty good signing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like the less splashy approach in this free agency season. I like the Jordy signing. I agree with you. I think that he still shows some burst and he can separate in the middle of the field. So, but to talk about Taylor Whitehead, he made some comments today on Twitter regarding personal trainers having to be able to do the work that they're asking you to do. Did you see that as shade thrown at the current staff, or was that a general statement? What do you make out of that comment?
Actually, shockingly, I didn't see it. I don't know did he say that earlier in the day, or did he just say that within the last couple hours or so?
It was earlier today, and actually I'll bring up the comment right now. But I thought it was kind of odd, considering, we had some issues last year, right, with players calling out the staff during the season, already kind of off to a weird start. But let me dial it up here. He says, honestly, I think as a personal trainer, it goes a long way when you look the part. It's hard for me to believe if you're not practicing what you preach. I need my trainer to be able to get in the mix, but maybe that's just me. Now, I know Shaw, he's a pretty reputable guy. I know a guy like Ellis, I believe it was, went to Shaw last offseason to get workouts done on his own, and now that program's coming to him, as Shaw's now the head of that strength and conditioning program. Deuce Gruden obviously looks the part, so can't be talking about him. And then you got the new girl who's joining the staff, which I'm all for the diversity. I think it was a cool hire. Younger girl, and the way I feel is, she might not be pushing up weight, but there's a lot of science and methodology that goes behind this training. So, these young cats coming out of school and have been studying this stuff, it's good to get a fresh look in the mix. I don't know. I mean, I know you're just hearing this now, but is this something that Raider Nation should buy into? Is Whitehead have any known issues of being maybe an odd character or too outspoken?
Well, not that I'm aware. I could check with the people that I know that might be able to clue me in on that. But I would say that I would definitely put a pin in that kind of statement, because first of all, it's just an ill-advised statement. It's silly. It's basically like saying you can't coach unless you played the game, because that's just simply not the case. Right. There are a lot of coaches who've never played the game, but they're students of the game. And to say that you can't be a trainer unless you can get in there and do what he does is so out of left field. And I would imagine that any of the coaching staff who saw him put that on that Twitter probably were not happy about it, probably told him about that as well. And like you said, when you read something like that, the first thing that comes to your mind is he talking about the first person that comes to mind is the female on the staff, and you just hope that, like, please tell me he's not saying that about her, because that would just be really tone deaf, just a poor judgment mostly.
So I actually have to pump the brakes on this right now, because now I'm scrolling and it looks about 3 hours after he made that comment. Somebody had commented, Aaron Williams had commented on the post. He says, I don't think he's talking about the Raider staff, thus the term personal trainer. And Tyre actually responded. He said, it was just a thought. The staff we have is great. So apologize for taking all of us down this road. But it looks like Whitehead's cleared that up. So no need to panic. But I think it's good that it got out there because there's probably a lot of other people that didn't go back and check that out today.
I think it probably caught some attention, and that's why he had to go and clarify that, right?
Yeah. So it looks like even not knowing, Levi, you were right. So maybe someone's like, "Hey, you need to clear that up, bro."
Yeah, I felt like, wow, should I have known about this? And it's something that should have been on my radar. But I guess I'm glad that. Well, I mean, like you said, it's good that you broached the subject so that for anybody who's listening, they heard you follow up on that and realize, oh, it's no big deal. Although I do think it's kind of a silly statement anyway, just in general.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Cain has just two more questions for you. He wanted me to ask you about Geis. So, Geis is the number one running back prospect this year. Now, the running back, it's really hard to predict in the draft because there's a lot of people that say teams don't put a lot of stock into running backs now because the mileage on them is so short. But then you got a guy like Barkley who's likely to go in the top 5. You had Ezekiel Elliott, who went pretty high. And then last year you had Leonard Fournette that went in the top 10, I believe, right? Was he 1 overall? I can't remember at this point.
Jacksonville, I don't remember where
they
picked.
Yeah, top 5, I believe. But now you got Geis, who looks like a hardcore physical runner, a guy that's going to deal out a lot of punishment. What are the chances that Geis actually falls out of the first round? Is that a miracle waiting to happen, or do you think he gets scooped up somewhere in the top 10?
Well, I think he goes somewhere, and I mean, based on what I've seen, I think he goes somewhere in the latter half of the first round.
Yeah,
I think Saquon Barkley is the only one that's going to go in the upper half of the first round, probably well before the Raiders even pick, and for good reason. I mean, the guy is. I compared it. The best I could compare it to is like watching a science fiction movie where you're getting upset and annoyed because they keep defying basic laws of physics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watching him run, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, seriously, come on. He just does just like crazy things that the defense just can't even catch up to him. And so, yeah, he's deservedly a top 10 pick. I don't think, but I'm no expert on this. He's not projected to be, by anyone that I've seen, to fall out of the first round.
Yeah.
Guys as well. And I personally, I think it would be a mistake for the Raiders to go running back with their top pick unless it was somebody like Saquon Barkley, who the words generational talent had come around. Because if you think about it, I mean, they're set at running back right now. They're at least set with Marshawn Lynch. So if you were to take a running back with your top pick with all these other needs, you're bringing in a guy who you're basically going to be. You're taking a year off his rookie contract before he's actually going to be inserted as your feature back. I mean, it'd be nice to have 2 great running backs, but that's more of a luxury at this point. You have a lot greater needs, and there are a lot of really great players that are going to be available at 10, or even if you were to talk about, like, if they were to trade down a few picks or something like that, you're still talking about some elite talent, the best at their position. And that I think that you should focus on at greater need positions than that, and maybe think about running back in the second or the third, or maybe even later.
Okay. So sticking with the draft right now, Conley, his status right now certainly uncertain, I guess you can say. We learned that he had microfracture surgery. He's still rehabbing those shins. He was lifting today in the facility, but basically he's barred from training anything that involves any leg strength or anything like that. So with his status up in the air, what's the likelihood that the Raiders actually go defensive back in the first round?
I think it's fairly likely. I mean, it's as likely as any of their other top needs. You look at cornerback, defensive tackle, linebacker, offensive tackle, and they could go any of those directions in the first round, and you'd have really no argument from anyone, because those are all very glaring weak spots for the team. And of course, when you're talking about the number 10 pick, the Denzel Ward being considered the top corner, I like the idea of either trading back or waiting for the second round, because the cornerback position is so deep this year with talent that, like most people consider Denzel Ward to be the top guy. But then after that, there's just like 4 or 5 guys that you could, depending on who you ask, will tell you is the next best guy. But if they were to pick any of them at 10, we have to you got to wait and see. They clearly like this guy. They didn't want to miss out on him. They took him. It's a glaring need. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that being the case. And as far as Conley is concerned, the whole thing is rather strange. A lot of people saying, "Well, don't worry, we have till training camp." But they said that last year too. He hurt himself in rookie mini camp. I'm not rookie mini camp, but in mandatory mini camp, he hurt his shin, and you think, "Oh, he's got 6 weeks. He's just got a little shin thing." And Reggie said it was shin splints, and then there was that whole mess where he disputed his own GM, not realizing that it was his own GM who was saying he has shin splints, and then he didn't even show up. He didn't even perform in training camp. Now, do I think that that's going to happen again? No, I don't. But it's very strange when you consider it was week 3 when he aggravated the shin injury, and we're still talking about him not seeing the field. It's very strange. I'm not sure I've seen anything like that, especially from such a mysterious injury.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. Just thank God it's not that Liz Frank injury or turf toe.
It's funny because as soon as I said I'm not sure I've seen anything like it, my brain said, "What about Darren McFadden? What about that year Darren McFadden?"
Yeah, some of the Raiders' biggest rivalry is turf toe and Liz Frank injury. Let's not forget those. I'm going to step out of the way here for a second. Shay's going to fire a couple questions at you. Then I'm going to get back on the mic. And Levi, we're going to get personal.
All right.
All right, Levi. So recently on your site, silverandblackpride.com, you wrote an article on the wide receivers that could be targets for the Raiders in the upcoming draft. You highlighted some specific names for every round except for the first. Now, my question is that because you believe that it's a foregone conclusion that the Raiders will draft a defensive player at 10? That's
part of it.
Okay. And
that's part of that. Well, that and the fact that I just don't, and the other half of it is I just don't think that there's a receiver that's worthy of that top pick.
Okay. So if you're thinking that they're going to go defense, who is that player that we take at 10?
Well, that is the $1 million question because there are probably, and I'm not going to brush aside your question here.
No.
It's because there are probably like 10 possible players that could be available at that spot, basically, because with the fact that there's at least four quarterbacks that you figure are going to go in the top 10, and then there are a few positions that are going to go that the Raiders don't even need. You're going to end up, and there's a lot of uncertainty with what the other teams are going to do. So you could go with Tremaine Edmonds. You could go with Roquan Smith. You could go with Vita Vea. I like Vita Vea quite a bit. You could go with Maurice Hurst, depending on how you feel about, or how the Raiders feel about, more importantly, about the health of his heart. And then those are the guys that come out. I mentioned Denzel Ward. You could go with Minkah Fitzpatrick. A lot of people like Derwin James. I personally think that they should and will steer away from safeties, because I think it'd be a mistake to give up on the possibility of what Carl Joseph and Obi Melifonwu can do,
right,
in a safety position. So if you're going for a safety that early, you're essentially saying we're giving up on it before we're giving it even a chance to succeed. But Minkah Fitzpatrick is a fantastic talent who can play any of the defensive back positions. So if they drafted him, they could still go with those two safeties and put Fitzpatrick at the slot corner or one of the other corner positions, and just kind of plug and play situation there. So there's a lot of great defensive talent. And then if you were to and like recently, I also had a suggestion that maybe they trade down a few spots, and then you have you have a couple offensive tackles that could be good to plug in there at the right tackle position as well.
Right. Actually, that was going to be my second question. I was going to say that you recently discussed in another article that there's 5 possible trade down situations for the Raiders. And so, my question was going to be, what would dictate them trading down?
Well, the scenarios, and I reached out to a couple of people I know that cover some of the other teams, and it seems to involve a lot of either a quarterback, if there is one of the top quarterbacks that's available at 10, which I have my doubts one of them is going to be available, because I think the 4 top ones, there's 3 teams that are going to definitely draft a quarterback, and then I think the Bills will trade up and get their guy as well. And so the other 2 guys are the safeties that I just mentioned, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Derwin James. And maybe you could throw in Denzel Ward there as well. There's a couple of teams that, like the Packers and the Panthers, that could both use help in the secondary that I think could definitely trade up to that spot to get them if they were available at that 10 spot. And I'm pretty confident at least one, if not more than one of those 3 guys, those 3 defensive backs, will be on the board at 10 if they want to come up and get them. And the Raiders are in this unique position when you consider like 3 factors here, that what their needs are, who's going to be available, and just where they sit in the draft at that point, is that they could fall back a few and still get just the guy they want at a position they desperately need.
Right. So my follow-up question would be, how far should the Raiders be willing to trade down?
You're asking me to give away my secrets for the future here, though. But I wouldn't. Let's just say I wouldn't trade out of the teens.
Okay.
I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't drop down into the 20s. But you get a couple teams there. Like I mentioned, the Packers and the Panthers. One of those trade scenarios seems the most likely.
Okay. Who would you think that would still be available and still be valuable to the Raiders at that position?
Oh, down at 14.
Yeah.
Well, this is I mentioned recently to someone, I actually even said, I think I said it in that to open that article, is that I hate this draft, and I hate it because it's so damn hard to predict.
Yeah, right.
As far as what the Raiders are going to do, and it's one of those. It's a good problem that they have, that being that there's going to be so much top talent at each position that they'll have a lot to choose from. And not only that, but it also makes it harder to predict what the teams are going to do ahead of them. But you just kind of figure, for instance, if there are 5 players that are on the board that they could conceivably take any of those 5, and they drop down 4 spots, say. And even if every one of those teams takes one of the guys they could have taken, they're still going to leave one guy.
Right.
That would be a great pick at a position they need. And I think it would be fantastic if one of those 2 defensive tackles, Vita Vea or Maurice Hurst, were there. But even if they weren't, there's that defensive tackle is also a really good position this year when you consider there also like Deron Payne out of Alabama and a couple other guys that could be first-round picks or high second-round picks. And then when you start getting to the mid to lower first round, you start getting into those offensive tackles as well that could come in.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm done grilling you.
Yeah, it's great info off the cuff there, Levi. I said I was going to get personal, Levi. I had some few questions for you because I'm really curious. We got a lot of reporters on here, and I know you guys do shows all the time, and you're always talking football. So I wanted to ask you a few questions kind of about your empire that you've built, Silver and Black Pride. I really, like I said, have a lot of respect for your site. I'm an independent startup myself. And so if you will, take me back to the very beginning. Where did you conceive of the idea of Silver and Black Pride? What made you get started? And what year did you start?
Well, technically, what I started was a site called Thoughts on the Dark Side, and that was I didn't start that site. A guy named Patrick Patterson started that site, and And I came on board in early 2008. So it's been 10 years now since I first started writing, and I co-owned that site with him. Probably about a year later, he brought me on board as a co-owner, and then he passed away in 2010. And I kind of took over that site, and then for a couple of years, I was basically just me, and I was running that site and had a couple other guys that were writing for it as well. And then SB Nation came calling, looking for a new lead writer, editor-in-chief for Silver and Black Pride, and that was 2012. So I've been there ever since. But I will say that when I came on board, Silver and Black Pride was kind of a wreck. They weren't covering much. They didn't have a really large following. The page view totals were fairly low, especially considering what they are now. So I've certainly built it up from what it was when I arrived.
Are you a Raiders fan yourself, or is it just you happen to cover this team? How did you fall in with the Oakland Raiders?
I came into it, yes, as a Raiders fan from when I was from youth.
Yeah.
When I was young, I think I became a Raider fan probably about 8 years old.
Oh wow! So, did you grow up here in the Bay Area? Are you a California native, or whereabouts are you?
I'm originally from Oregon.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in northeastern Oregon, and so I'm a Duck and whatnot. So
back then, you probably had to deal with some Seahawks fans who, at that time, were AFC West rivals, and now you probably still deal with some Seahawks fans, I would imagine.
Yeah, here and there. I mean, a lot of my friends and family back home are Seahawks fans, and I like the Seahawks. I mean, we don't like. I certainly get the you cover the Raiders. I'm sorry, and I'm like, what's there to be? That's the favorite response. I'm like, it's like, you know what? The win or lose, my job doesn't change. So there's nothing really to be sorry about.
Right.
Just makes the season a little longer, maybe, if they win.
So being in Oregon, or being from Oregon and outside of the Bay Area, I'm sure you come across several fan bases. So we'd like to do a little top 5 segment on our show with some of our guests.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you top 5 fan bases that are not Raiders fans.
Because we're number one.
We're number one. So let's just get that cleared up. But you could say top 5, or maybe just the top 5 most fanatic fan bases, not the Raiders fans. And this doesn't have to be NFL. Mm-hmm. You can open this up to college sports, baseball, hockey, whatever you want.
Like it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I've always deferred to the Browns fans. Browns fans are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Their loyalty.
Hell yeah.
What they've put up with and what they've gone through, and the kind of loyalty they have. It's either admirable or sad. I'm not really sure how much one or the other, but yeah, I've always thought the Browns had the best fans out there, and of course I have to go homer and say that the Trailblazers, the Portland Trailblazers, mm-hmm. have some pretty amazing fans. Let me think. I think Eagles fans are pretty. They get a bad reputation, but that's a pretty crazy bunch right there.
Well, when you're eating horse shit on television, you're going to catch some flack for that, Levi.
Right.
When I'm what?
If you're eating horse shit on television, you're going to catch some flack for that.
I guess I'm not totally up on all the.
During the post Super Bowl celebration, one of the fans was he was caught on. They were showing it on TMZ, but he was actually eating horse poop straight off of the street, and I'm not sure what that was supposed to show.
I don't know.
But I know Cleveland fans have been eating a mile of horse shit for the last 30 some odd years.
Well, hopefully the guy lost a bet or something, or he won a bet. He said if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I'll eat horse meat.
Right.
Yeah,
that's the only way out of that one.
I hope so.
So Eagles, Blazers, Browns, and I got to say, for those of you that really haven't considered it, the last decade and a half for Raider fans has been really up and down. It's been pretty tough. It's been very frustrating most of the time. Imagine living like that your entire life. And when you ask your dad, has it always been like that? And he says, yes. I mean, save for the Bernie Kosar era and whatnot. The Browns had their run, but for the most part, it's been slim pickings for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. So I got to side with you there, Levi. I think the Browns fans, you know, they got a special place in my heart. I've seen a crowd, I say a crowd, a gathering of Browns fans once in my life, and I was in Albuquerque of all places in a hotel, and it was on a Sunday morning, and I was walking past the lobby, a little sports bar there, and there was about 6 Browns fans just huddled up, and I didn't even have words, man. I almost walked into the door because my head was turning. I'm like, those are Browns fans.
They exist.
Endangered species. Shout out to George Clinton.
Well, okay. So let me round out this top 5. Next, I'll go with the Cubbies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Cubs fans, the lovable losers who finally broke through, and so I respect their fan base. And then, of course, the Packers. So.
Yeah. Packers fans are savages for the weather that they endure out there.
Right.
And I also think it's pretty cool that they actually own their own team.
I mean. You don't expect an NFL team to exist in a place like Green Bay. I've been there, and you're like, really? There's an NFL team here?
Yeah.
And they have a waiting list, a years and years waiting list to get season tickets to that place. That team means everything to them. So kudos to them.
Yeah, someone's got to die for you to get in on that list. Yeah. I mean, literally.
That's serious, yo. Yeah. That's serious.
Actually, and I have a pretty close experience with Packer fan culture. My dad moved to the Bay Area in 1976 as a Packers fan, and his coworker at that time, he grew up out in Wisconsin. His coworker at that time, he was actually working in Oakland. He came out here, started working in Oakland in 76, and he says, I want to take you to a Raiders game. My dad's like, I don't want to go to a Raiders game. I don't want to go. He said, well, they're playing the Packers. I want to take you out there to see your team. Raiders kicked their ass. And my dad's been a Raiders fan ever since. So, and you guys know how that year ended. So it was a good time for him to get involved in. And you might say, oh, your dad's a bandwagon and he jumped on. No, my dad's a diehard Raider fan, and he's been through it, the ups and the downs, and a lot of downs lately. But I got a feeling we're on an upswing. So let's end this on a positive note, Levi. Hopefully, fingers crossed. What are your expectations for this season? I'm not expecting Super Bowl. I'm not like a lot of the rest of the fan base. I have us coming in around 9 or 7, but I have us on the upswing. Are you positive about the Gruden era? Do you think that there's something good coming in the next 5 years for the Oakland Raiders?
I am glad you said the next 5 years, because I definitely think that you have to look at it. You can't really look at it as like instant gratification type of situation, because, Gruden's getting back into football. And as we know, Derek Carr had his best season in the second season that he had Bill Musgrave as his offensive coordinator. It was the first time since he'd come in the NFL that he had the same offensive coordinator 2 seasons in a row, and he had by far his best season. So I'm not ready to make any kind of predictions right now, but I would simply say temper your expectations right out the gate, because as we know, Gruden has a big playbook. He has it's not going to be it's not going to be an overnight success type situation. It might take a little bit of time. I expect that, by next year we might see things really start to pick up.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a realistic outlook, and I do expect improvement this year, and expect to see a lot of Raiders on national television this year. You got to think the NFL is going to want to put John Gruden on primetime TV as much as possible. So those of you, I know there's a lot of Raiders fans out there, not in the Bay Area. You guys are going to get to see your team on TV quite a bit this year, in my opinion. So
I think you're probably right.
Levi, we want to thank you for joining us, man. It's been great. We know you're a busy guy. I see you hustling on Twitter all day, every day. You guys put a lot of great content up on your site. So if you're not already, and I can't imagine you're not, but please go bookmark silverandblackpride.com. Follow Levi Damien on Twitter. He's a great guy, good sense of humor, and tons of insight for you guys out there that are just constantly craving knowledge about this team that we all love and live and die for, the Silver and Black. Yep. So thanks again, Levi. Thanks for joining us, man.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Well, there it is right there.
Yes.
Mr. Silver and Black Pride himself.
Yes.
I do remember Tales from the Dark Side, or not Tales from the Dark Side, TFDS.
Yeah. There you go.
But anyways, yeah, so Levi, man, it was good to have him on. I've always wanted to talk to that guy. I know he's busy. He took that time out, and we got some good nuggets.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. And he brings, a wealth of knowledge, man. So any way that we can inform our listeners, we're going to do it. We're going to go out. We're going to reach out to as many people. Kenny's killing it over here, bringing on the guests. So be thankful that he's doing so.
Yeah, I'm having fun, bro.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I get just as geeked for this stuff as anybody else,
Hell
so
yeah.
This is pretty cool.
We're Raider fans, man. Of course
are.
we get geeked. Come on now.
If I sound nervous, it's because I'm excited. But yeah, man, we're up against it right now. We had to delay that a little bit, so it's getting late up here in the Crow's Nest, and we still got to get Cain in here. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to listen to your calls. We're going to come back, respond to those, and hit you with Cain's Corner.
Yeah.
And you know how the rest of it goes.
Yeah, you do.
That's right.
And if you don't, you will.
You better ask somebody. Right?
There you go.
So yeah, let's get up out of here, and we'll catch you guys on the other side.
Yeah.
We out here.
Peace.
Yo, Raider Nation, what's good? It's EP, the Eternal Pessimist. Man, I'll tell you what, Kenny and Che, these people on the blog are making me look damn near optimistic. I swear, man, some of y'all freak out at this silliest shit. I can't even say. We got people now calling Mack a diva. Like, really? Oh, man. Y'all understand that a team can just release a player at any moment with zero notice? What leverage does a player have? You got Khalil Mack, who is arguably the best player in the league. You can argue with me. I'm going to argue that he's the best player in the league. And y'all want to act like he should just bend over for whatever this team wants from him. This team has given Khalil Mack absolutely nothing in 4 years. Khalil Mack deserves so much better than us, and the fact that he's holding out shows that he still wants to be here. He wants to be a Raider. Yo, we owe this dude so much more respect. We have given him nothing. Look at who he's had to help alongside of him. Name a DT that's gotten a friggin' sack in the last few years. God, the one person we had, McGee, we traded away. No, we didn't trade away. I'm sorry. We let walk in free agency, and even he wasn't that good. Mack has had no help. He's had to play under Ken Norton Jr. as a defensive coordinator his whole career. The most he's had to help is Urban, whose career high in sacks is 8. He's had nothing in the middle. He's had shit behind him. The guy's had absolutely nothing, and yet he's still been arguably the most dominant defensive player in the entire NFL. And y'all are going to call him a diva for using the only piece of leverage he had to say, yo, give me what I deserve. All right? You guys are worried about workouts. He's not missing training camp. He's not missing anything. He's missing workouts. These are workouts. Are you guys actually going to tell me that you think Khalil Mack's going to show up out of shape? Is that what your argument is? Because if not, shut up. This is worse than arguing about the punter. Yeah, man, seriously, let's go back to arguing about friggin' King, okay? Because arguing about Khalil Mack not being a leader on this team, if anyone is going to show the way, this isn't Donald Penn with broken-ass knees trying to talk about how he deserves more, even though he just let our quarterback go down for a season-ending injury. This is Khalil friggin' Mack, y'all. This is the only guy to ever be named an All-Pro at 2 positions in 1 season.
Good morning, Pillaging people. It's Just Fire Baby chiming in from Kansas City. Horrendous place so far. And it's like 4:30 in the morning. So here we go. Khalil Mack. Listen, before we do anything and start talking about any of this, y'all are putting so much heart and soul into being a fan in a sport that has no soul and is completely heartless. It's just gonna be left heartbroken. What are you doing? People like, oh, you can't trade Mack. You can trade anybody in the NFL. Hello? The Patriots might trade Bill Belichick in a year or two. Who knows? Guess what? Anything's on the table. This is big frickin' business. Does that mean you just trade Khalil Mack for a ham sandwich? Of course not. You try to get more than Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's not the most valuable athlete in the history of the NFL. You can trade him. You better get a big fucking care package back. But if you can't, why not? Or consider it. What if he's going to walk out? What if he's going to be a troublemaker? What if he doesn't want to be here? Nobody knows but Khalil Mack. But people out here are like, if you think we could even consider trading Khalil Mack, you're not a Raider fan. Well, you know what? You sound closed-minded, and you're calling people names. So you sound like my 12-year-old niece. How does that grab you? Name caller and closed-minded. Come on, people. Don't trade Khalil Mack unless you could get a package that's better than Khalil Mack. I'm here to tell you there's probably 50 packages out there in the NFL. Not a lot. I mean, you consider trading Seth Roberts. There's 87,000 packages that are better than Seth Roberts. Khalil Mack, maybe only 50. Okay? Well, what if someone offers us one of those? You're just going to be like, no. He's a Raider. And that don't mean shit. Raiders for like 8 years. That's it. Khalil Mack signed a nice contract would be ideal. Listen, everyone says you just pay him whatever. You don't pay him whatever. It's McKenzie's job to pay him less than what he wants. That is literally Reggie McKenzie's job. They walk in with their agent. We want 5 years, $25 million. Reggie says, we'll give you 5 and 23. They sign it. Reggie did his job. So let's get real, people. Stop acting like he's your son. He's not your son. He doesn't care about you. Give him a fair contract. Hope he kicks ass. Go Raiders. Screw the Chiefs.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Jesus Christ from the Reddit. Just calling to talk to you guys about the McDonald's takes you guys had last week. Kenny, you talked about putting the McChicken on top of the McDouble or Big Mac, I can't remember which one, but around here, if you order a McClusterfuck, you get a McRib on a McChicken on a McDouble, and it's disgusting, but you know, when you're drunk or stoned, that's what you eat. And Cain is pretty much spot on with his take on the McDonald's. The farther out you go here, the better the food is. Like, in town, we have one specific McDonald's that's open 24/7, and it's just trash all day long, all night long. You can't get anything good there. But if I go hop over to the next town over, out in the middle of nowhere, yeah, it's like a whole different freaking restaurant. And finally, I just want to address one thing as far as the Raiders go, and that's everyone wants a linebacker or a corner with our 10th pick, but the way I see it is our safety core is pretty not good, unless you want to see Luani starting next year, which I don't think many people do. So I think Derwin James would be a better fit for us personally, despite there being a lot of good corners. Anyway, first time calling in. I'll try to call in as much as I can. You guys keep pillaging.
Kenny, Jay, Cain, what's up, you pillaging freaks? Hey, I got one thing to say from Podunk, Missouri. Draft Minka, Derwin, or Denzel. Anything else would be a disappointment on draft day. Too many question marks in the secondary. Just win, baby.
Hey there, this is DJ Johnny. I wanted to comment a little bit on Gruden and just the whole thing. You know, I think we forget, Gruden is getting a lot of crap, around the league, or the Raiders are, for bringing him on. Oh, he hasn't coached in so many years, and what was his actual record? He won with Dungy's team. Well, if he won with Dungy's team, he beat his own team that he built up from the ashes, basically, in the Oakland Raiders in the Super Bowl. So, regardless, Gruden got fired after going 9-7. He was 9-3 granted his last year and did lose his final 4 games, which led to his firing. Of course, that last game he was beaten by Jamarcus and Michael Bush in his 155 yards and so forth. But, I mean, there's worse coaches out there, even just based on his record alone. Super Bowl winning coach, and that certainly doesn't, rank way up there as far as, winning as a coach with the all-time greats, but a great reputation. Let's remember, I mean, this guy was heralded across the league. I mean, the Cowboys were rumored to be after him. Tampa Bay wanted him. Many teams would have given their left testicles to get Gruden and to hire him. And his rate was $10 million. I mean, that was it. I mean, he's not being paid as much as Belichick, and he shouldn't be. Not saying he should, but he's being paid what his rate was to get him out of the Monday Night Football booth. And I think there's some jealousy around the league, some anger that the Raiders were the team to snag Gruden, so they're taking shots at him. They would take him in a minute, but now that the Raiders have him, well, he hasn't coached in a while. Well, Gruden, how good, really good was he? Blah, blah, blah. But they would have taken him in a heartbeat. Out here in Chicago, I heard them on sports radio, definitively say on one day, hey, if you want to go big, go after Gruden. Give Gruden a blank check. Give Harbaugh a blank check. They were ranking Gruden up there with Jim Harbaugh as far as, top coaches. So I think all this stuff we read, and, this anti-Gruden stuff, and his comments about 1998 are being overblown, and he kind of dispelled that, but that's not a good story for the national media, so they're going to kind of ignore that part of it and just seize on the 98 part and say that Gruden's lost it and he's living in the past. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I know for a fact, getting on the Tennessee Vols boards, they had entire threads devoted to wanting Gruden to come coach them, so Arkansas, the list goes on and on. No. Say Raiders. Louder. Say Raiders. Raiders. Raiders.
And we're back. Yes. Some good calls. First off, apologies. We had a caller get cut off. That was EP Raider. EP, the Eternal Pessimist. And then 303 Raider, your call just got cut off immediately. I heard a key sound, like your cheek hit the button.
Yeah.
So you just got cut off like a sentence in, so I had to cut that call. And I think that was Frisky's that called in, but it was unintelligible. So I couldn't run that one. But I do appreciate the calls, man. Keep them coming. I know it's not a perfect system. I don't know why these calls get cut off. Maybe it's your phone. Sometimes it's the voicemail service just cuts off. Yeah. Cuts off at different times, so I don't even know that it's a time limit because JFB had a nice long call in there and it got all the way through. So right. I don't know, man. Just check your phones before you're done or something, or maybe do it on speaker so you can see if your phone's shutting off. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I do appreciate the calls. If you didn't make the cut this week, just call back again next week. We're not weeding out calls. We air everything we get.
That's right.
So far.
That's
far.
Right.
So no calls from Ice Cold Honky this week. He gets love, though. Every great story has a great villain. And we appreciate the effort.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, we appreciate the effort. Appreciate your effort.
But first off, EP, 100% correct, man. Could have just played that call. They didn't even have to do the show this week. Spot on, man. Everyone's all worked up. Mac's a diva now, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Put your money where your mouth is. Let me see you burn that jersey. You ain't going to do it.
No. That's stupid.
Everybody got a Mac jersey these days. I got a Mac jersey.
There you go.
Who's the Mac?
My lady's got a Mac jersey, man.
That's what's up.
Come on now.
That's what's up. She still hasn't called, by the way. Maybe her call got cut off. I don't know.
Hey, man. She's going on about 2-3 hours of sleep every day. So
I feel you.
So yeah. There's a reason. She's probably napping.
I'm gonna have to jump on there with one of them Chinese kids just to get her on the air.
You got to sight up as a student, bro.
But yeah, man, shout out to your lady. She's freaking grinding over there.
Hell yeah.
You guys
Hell
both are, man. You guys work hard. JFB also spot on, man. I think his take's very realistic. Again, Mr. Hot Take, JFB.
Yeah.
You're right. KC sucks for the most part. The best part about Kansas City is Gent, in my opinion. I got fam out there, so that's cool. And, I mean, it's cheap out there. It's affordable. Folks are relatively nice out there. But when you're coming from, well, he comes from New Mexico, but he's also from the Bay Area originally. New Mexico actually got a lot of stuff to do out there. Bay Area got a lot of stuff to do. KC, man, it's pretty slow out there. You go out to the Midwest, anywhere in general, just get ready to slow it down, you know. But I don't know. JFB's on like a world tour right now because he's been calling from a different spot. I think he was in Colorado last week. So
Right.
He's on the move. But yeah, man, field the offers. Don't panic. Likely not going to jump at any of those, but hang in there, nation.
Yeah.
Would you field offers?
I mean, I think you're stupid if you don't field offers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that you're legitimately considering them. You're just like, hey, okay, what do you suggest?
Yeah, I'm not expecting this contract to get done before our next show. So maybe just put it out there. If you guys are really about that life when it comes to Mac, tell me what you would take in a trade.
There you go.
Let's make it real.
There you go. Let's start that. Put those in the next phone calls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would it take? Because if you're really about that life, you're really questioning Mac's loyalty,
Right.
then what are you going to take for a trade? I'm interested to hear what your answer is. I'll wait. Jimmy Jesus Christ from Reddit. I've had some really cool interactions with that dude. He's a cool guy. It was good to hear his voice. His McDonald's take was spot on. I don't know about the McRib. I stay the hell away from the McRib. I tried a McRib like back in 1987. That was it. I was
when
done.
it first came out.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not even gonna lie, man. When I was younger, I was like, "Oh, the McRib is back."
Yeah.
I was all about that McRib. But you know what? When they came back, every single time that they came back, I probably only got it one time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm good.
The limited edition McDonald's item for me stops at the Shamrock Shake. I like the Shamrock Shake. After that, I'm good. The garlic fries out here in this area, fire.
Right.
And bring back the McBLT if you're gonna bring something. Remember, I had the hot side and the cold side packaging. Do you remember that?
I can't say that I ever had.
They had the burger and bun and cheese on one side,
Uh-huh.
and then they had the lettuce, tomato, bacon on the other side.
Put it together yourself.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Bring that back.
Because you don't want to mix the two. Because the lettuce and tomato is supposed to be fresh, crispy.
And that's back when the produce looked happy to be there.
What are you trying to say, man?
Speaking of food, I ate a spot in San Jose, Asadero, I think it's called.
There you go.
It's a barbecue taco joint, and I had the mole pork ribs. Fire.
You hear that? Mole.
There's a mole
pork ribs.
barbecue sauce. It wasn't strictly mole. It was a mole barbecue sauce.
It was a fusion.
Yeah, it's called the El Jefe sauce over there. It was good. Their salsa bar was good.
Yeah.
And I also had the trifecta barbecue taco combo, which was the grilled chicken, the tri-tip taco, and the pulled pork taco. Gotta say the tri-tip taco. I'm not a big tri-tip guy. Tri-tip taco took the win there. Very good. Very good. Fresh pico de gallo. Just fresh. Everything fresh. But
that's what it's all about, man. Mexican food is not complicated. It's just about fresh food.
So somebody said the other day that Taco Bell, and I'm not trying to lump this in with Mexican food, Taco Bell, everything tastes the same. It just comes in different shapes. And I was like, damn, you're right. Some of it's crunchier than the other ones.
It's true. It's fucking
That's
true.
right?
It all tastes the same, man.
So
this is fucking mushy in the middle.
But the brilliance of Mexican food is like you said, the simplicity and the fact that they're able to flip the same kind of. I mean, this is really simplifying it, so don't get offended. But like this same like dozen ingredients, you can flip it like multiple ways
hell yeah.
to come out with things. And I know like the real traditional food runs deep.
Oh yeah.
But there's something to be said about just keeping it simple, fresh, and letting the ingredients speak for themselves.
If you're talking about a taco place, man,
Yeah.
it's all about freshness. If you run up in a taco spot and they don't got no fresh salsa or at least a salsa bar for you to choose from, then you're in the wrong taco spot.
Highly sus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of there quick.
If they got American cheese on the taco, you need to run for your life.
If you see them digging into a store-bought jar, you need to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
No.
I'll look for the fresh chips too.
That's it. Fresh. It is all about the fresh chips. If it's one of those sit and eat spots,
Yeah.
and they don't bring you a nice, fresh, hot
chips.
hot basket of chips,
Yeah.
then you need to get the hell out of there too.
Dip.
Hell yeah.
And they bring the Tostitos to the table. Just get out.
Come to your table and open up a goddamn bag, dude. Here you go, chips and salsa.
This is made in New York City.
Some fucking paste picante sauce. Get the hell out of there, man.
All my 90s friends will know what I'm talking about.
If your salsa doesn't come in a little mini molcajete,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
then you're in the wrong place. Get the hell out of there.
I got 3 molcajetes downstairs.
There you go. That's the way you do it.
And then lastly, not lastly, but podunk, I like to take, man, short and sweet. Some of your calls tend to run on, and that's okay. But short and sweet, you got in, you got out. You said what you had to say. Can't go wrong drafting secondary. I'm still a pass on Minka. I could be violently wrong. This guy could be the physical phenom he seems to be, but I'm a pass on Minka.
Yeah. You know what? I'm with you on it just because of what you've said in the past, right? We've said in the past, right?
Yeah.
You got a guy that's great at a lot of things, but he's not a master of any of them.
Yeah.
You know, you got this guy that's a slash player. Think of all the slash players that we've seen in the NFL.
Yeah.
Think about how successful they've been. Maybe they had some streaks in them or whatever, but usually it doesn't last very long. It's, and it doesn't equal Super Bowl.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. And there's a reason why they had him blitzing a lot. I don't mean because he's a talent, but I don't think he's top 10 talent. I really don't. I'm going to catch flack for that. Whatever. Don't at me. I don't care. DJ Johnny. So the John Gruden. Speak to this. Is he defending Gruden? Is he questioning Gruden?
I think he's defending Gruden. Definitely, because he's basically saying like all these guys are talking smack about Gruden now that he's hired. Right? Now that he's hired, everyone's talking some shit about him, right? But when he was sitting on the sidelines and fielding some offers, everybody was interested.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's interested. Now all of a sudden, oh, what? You paid him what? Oh, that's crazy. You're only saying that because you didn't get him.
Mark's got money to burn now. He basically got himself a free stadium, man. It looks like.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I just saw. Yeah, we didn't even touch on that in the quick hits.
No, we didn't. But I did see that the room tax projections have come up short. Not to panic. It's kind of a slow season out there in Vegas, and they had the shooting and whatnot. So who knows? But I'm sure once games get up and running, it'll be different. I did see that the ticket sales are reportedly going very well out there. Yeah. So I just pray that you and I can afford to go to a game.
Right.
So, but we'll be out there in
Maybe
Vegas.
by then we'll be in Mr. Davis's good graces.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be awesome, right? I doubt that very much.
I got a set of clippers with your name on it, Mark Davis.
What if we trade a dope haircut for a couple tickets, Mike Davis?
That reminds me of the second to last. Actually, there's a new episode tonight, but Atlanta, the barbershop episode. If you guys ain't watching Atlanta on FX, you're missing out on a gem of a show.
You know what? I have to say that I'm not watching it, but not because I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't see it from the beginning.
Yeah. You don't have to.
But I want to. Like, I'm that kind of a person. Like, I want to know what the hell has happened. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be in the middle and be like, wait, they're making reference to this or that, the other. Yeah. Maybe they don't, but I just feel like when I want to get into a show, I need to start from the get.
I got that effects login if you need it, bro.
I'll send it over.
Last week's episode was haunting, man. I don't know. This ain't an Atlanta show, so but just I don't know. I thought I'd throw it out there. I think Glover's one of the most talented folks out there right now. Yeah. He gets to play Lando Calrissian too in the Han Solo movie. So that's what we should have talked about Cain about. Cain loves Star Wars. I love Star Wars. you got Ren and Vader sitting right next to you over there. So yeah, but speaking of Cain,
yeah,
it's time for Cain's Corner.
Yeah,
you ready?
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Peace.
All right, and we're back with Cain's Corner, sponsored by NFLshop.com. Every week, make sure you go to pj4f.com, click through the banner. NFL draft hats are out.
Yeah.
So get yourself a brand new Raiders draft hat. I personally think they're kind of swap meat-ish. I don't know. The stitching looks kind of suspect to me. But
I saw your tweet about that, but yeah.
So
it's kind of swap meatish. You're right. It is. That was well said. That was perfectly well described. It is. The letters are too thick.
Yeah, and the stitching on the shield seems a bit off. I saw the Niners one. They were side by side on the tweet I saw, and the Niners logo is like tilted. You can screw that hat up all you want. But the shield, man, it's like I wasn't quite sure where the eye patch ended and the nose began. Real sloppy over there. But, I mean, maybe get yourself a jersey. We get a little piece of that pie. Keep this pirate ship on the water. Welcome aboard, Cain. We're glad to have you on the ship every single week.
Always.
We appreciate your unfiltered, unadulterated takes, raw and uncut, every single week here on the Pillaging Podcast. So, we got a lot to talk about this week. First and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit about Reuben Foster and Raider fan reactions to the news that came out today. A lot of fans happy now that we passed on Foster. As you know, even some of us here were kind of upset on draft day when he fell to us and we passed on him. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like, in hindsight's 2020, but the Raiders organization knew what they were doing. So, considering everything that's happened kind of around the 49ers organization and even in the Raiders organization recently with Aldon Smith, a guy like Foster, doing what he did, which is just completely unforgivable in my opinion.
Yep.
But how does this shake out? Does this shake up the draft at all for you? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Raider fans' reactions to Reuben Foster?
Well, if I'm John Lynch, and I would think real close about whether I'm gonna keep Foster on my team. The way, especially if you couldn't keep Colin Kaepernick. First of all, Jesus Christ, this guy was protesting police violence, and you got a guy who's in trouble for domestic violence, and you are actually thinking about, you have to be thinking about keeping him because you haven't cut him yet. So you're actually thinking about keeping this guy. So yeah, what does that say about your organization? We held on to Aldon Smith until Aldon Smith put his hands on a woman, and then it was time to go. So, Mark Davis has a line that's drawn in the sand, and when it comes to hitting women, it's not going to happen. And I think the Niners and the NFL need to take heed to that, because you won't let Colin Kaepernick play in the NFL because he don't want to stand for he's trying to, he has a reason why he kneeled, and it wasn't because he whooped on some woman, so. Yeah. That to me, that's way bigger than our show, bro. Yeah. This is big, man. And I even tried to send a tweet out today to kind of like not make fun of it, but just say, hey, look, you don't never put your hand on a woman no matter what, even if she catch you. Yep. So for me, if the Niners, you claim yourself to be a top-notch organization that want to win Super Bowls, and you want to be like the Patriots or whatever, or you were the Patriots before the Patriots, you think you were, well, keeping Ray, why do I keep saying his name?
Freudian slip, because they're going to take Smith in the draft.
Keeping this guy is not a good thing. Now, does that shake up the draft? Yeah, it does. Now we can talk about Roquan Smith. Okay, so yeah, you should probably think that he won't fall past the Niners.
Yeah.
And if they don't take him and they have an opportunity here to replace this guy really quick, take the cap hit, then, you've again made a bad decision as a Niner organization. So yeah, it shakes up the draft a lot. Not for around the 8th, 9th, and 10th pick. Yeah, it shakes up the draft. Does it shake it up in the beginning? I don't think so.
No.
In I think the top 6, 7 picks are pretty much set in iron. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have 5 quarterbacks and a running back go in the top 6 picks.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of pocket at all. I think that's most likely what's going to happen. You got a lot of top 10 talent that's probably going to drop down below that 10 as teams start to reach for quarterbacks in positions of need. And as you know, quarterbacks always shoot to the top of the list, no matter what the talent level is.
Yep.
Come draft day, they look a lot shinier than they did about 3 months ago. And you even got a team like the Patriots who are now rumored to be in the mix possibly for a guy like Jackson, who I think should go higher than he probably will. I like Jackson. I think I like Jackson more than any of the quarterbacks on here, and I know a lot of people will debate me about that. But I just still think that skill set for a quarterback is not really landed the way it should have in the NFL yet. And I'm still waiting for that multi-dimensional quarterback. And, the Texans have one. If he stays healthy this year, that guy can change the game.
Yep.
So I don't think
absolutely, I agree.
I don't think Jackson's of that level of talent, but I think he is multi-talented, and he should go a lot higher than what he's being predicted at right now, and he just might. Yeah. He just might.
Yeah. Don't be surprised.
You were just saying before we got on the air, this is going to be a QB top-heavy draft, and right now I see a lot of people saying 3 or 4 going in the top 10. Not unlikely that it's 5.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, and that's good news for Raiders fans because it opens up a whole lot of options for us right there at 10, and including a lot of these corners that I know a lot of you Raider fans are high on. Raider Nation, man, we have a love affair with cornerbacks and safeties, and we're still looking to land that next bona fide corner. And I want to be mad if Derwin James falls to us now because that's my guy in the draft.
But think about it though. A safety again. I mean, look, we got Cujo, we got Lawani, we got players on the roster. If you draft a safety, what does that say about what you did earlier? I mean, I think we need to solidify the defensive backfield, most definitely, but not at the safety position.
Right.
I think we need a bookend corner to go with Gary and Conley because I think this dude, though he hasn't showed up healthy yet, I think he will show up healthy, and I believe that he is the next starting corner for this team. And you add another corner like even Anthony Averett. Anthony Averett in the second round can start in the NFL today. So you don't have to draft Ward. You don't have to go with my guy. You don't have to go with these guys in the first round. You can you can trade back in the first round and go with a defensive tackle, because in my opinion, the guys that everybody likes will be there in the later round of the draft at defensive tackle. You know what I mean? So like the Veas and the Hurst, and the Taven Bryans that I like, those guys will be there later on in the first round, possibly early in the second. Excuse me. So if you decide you want to trade out and maybe pick up another second round pick and get, another defensive tackle and pick up Anthony Averett. I don't know if you guys have looked at film on this guy, but he's I believe he ran a 4.34 in the 40, and he was the opposite corner to Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I mean,
did you know that?
No, I did know that, but what I guess my point, my intrigue with Derwin James is this guy's, in my opinion, going to be top tier talent, and I understand that we have talent at safety. Obi's out there. He's training. He appears to be healthy. But, him being a slash player, possibly not a full safety, he's more of a money backer position, is kind of like what his scouting report was last year, is that you can take another safety in this draft and not feel like you were taking a step backwards. Obi still has a position to play on this team, and Derwin can play more than one position. And I feel like he's at level of talent is like, okay, let's say you have a stable of running backs, but you got a Barry Sanders caliber guy sitting there to take. That doesn't mean you don't take that guy if he's the best available player at that position.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not equating Derwin James' talent to Barry Sanders. I'm just sort of exaggerating to make a point.
But I'm saying I'm saying there's better corners than I'm saying that we need a good corner over a good safety.
Okay.
Or do you agree with me with that or no?
No, fair enough. And especially, and that was the next thing I was going to say, with Conley now, his status being uncertain, I absolutely don't disagree with that, know. And you've been high on Ward all offseason, and now it's looking more and more likely that Ward, Fitzpatrick, these guys are going to be in the mix there. But again, it's a deep corner draft. Maybe you trade back, you pick up Isaiah Oliver later or Jair Alexander later, who might fall a little bit because of that prior injury. Again, first-round talent. There's a lot of talent to be had there. So much like Levi Damien said in our earlier segment, I hate this draft because, man, it could just go a million different ways, and there appears to be so much talent on the board. So it's very unpredictable. It's a lot of fun to talk about, and here we are 14 days away.
Guys, I've been saying that. I've been saying that since the combine. There's a lot of talent in this draft. The draft is really heavy with DBs, and I mean, it's heavy, especially at the defensive back position. There were 85 defensive backs at the combine. That's a lot of defensive backs. And I want to say at least 25 of them are good enough to play right now in the NFL, whether it's nickel corner, special teams, or starter. At least 25 of them can do that.
Yeah.
So that's a good number, and then to have the other whatever we have, those are the guys, the developmental guys. That's a good number for that one position. Now we just talking about that one position. So if you want to draft, if you want to be sure that you're going to draft somebody, if y'all been complaining about Reggie McKenzie's draft and whether he didn't draft the person he didn't drafting the defensive back in this draft in the first round, it will be a most sure pick of any other pick in the draft. And then you can start talking about the defensive tackles and the running backs, because those are other heavy positions in the draft. Also, along with linebacker, there's about 10 or 15 good linebackers coming out in this draft too. So with that being said, and I hate using that term, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Those positions are positions that we should look for the Raiders to be heavy on. Now, what I would like to think is the positions that aren't heavy is the wide receiver. There's not a lot of good wide receivers. Does John Gruden, decide, hey, let me reach for one in the second, where he may have been there in the third otherwise? That's what you want to start thinking about, stuff like that going on, because there are heavy positions of that you may say, okay, one of these players might slipping down to the later rounds, but you won't have like a Dante Pettis that should probably be a fourth round pick, but might get picked up in the third. Something like that. Ronald Jones is a third, fourth round pick, might get picked up in the second. Kerryon Johnson. These players that's a third round pick in any other draft might get picked up a second. These are the players that you got to start thinking about on offense, that if John Gruden, because he's an offensive mind, we've been dealing with defense with Jack Del Rio and Reggie McKenzie. We've been dealing with defense. So now we're going to have to think, well, hey, you know what? It's a possibility that you might see some early offensive picks go, and because it's heavy in the defense on the draft. So they may look at or value some of these guys in the later rounds and want to pick up some of the earlier guys that may not be there in the later rounds. As like I said, a Dante Pettis, a Kerryon Johnson, a Ronald Jones, Darius Geis, and et cetera. You know what I mean? So this draft, like Levi said, it could go many different directions, and it's going to be an exciting first round for me in a long time, because you never know. John might shock us and take a offensive player. Though I don't see one that would go at 10 for us because we already kind of got. I don't see us taking a first-round player with the 10th pick. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I just don't see that happening. But this will be an exciting draft due to the fact that we have an offensive-minded head coach, and it's been defense all these other years. So while I think we should go defense, they may end up going offense early in the early rounds.
Yeah, I think defense is probably most likely, but you never know when a twist is going to be thrown out there. But yeah, I appreciate your comments on that. You're very well studied on the draft this year, and we appreciate all your input on the last few weeks on that. So we'll see how this washes out. Definitely know your favorites in the draft, Cain, and I pray that one of them at least falls to us. I do like Dante Pettis. I've been watching this film more and more the more you've been talking about him. Another guy I like is Cain out there from Clemson as a wide receiver too, as an option. But I just want to shift gears a little bit and kind of.
Ooh, I like him too. I like him too. Yeah,
I would love us to sign Cain just so you can get that jersey, Cain, and wear that Cain jersey.
Right.
That would be nice. That'd be real nice. I want to circle.
I like him too. I like it regardless of the name. I like him too. He's a stat. Probably third round, man. Hey, he could be a lot of. And I don't know if you agree with me or not, bro. But I think a lot of offensive players may get reached for because there are not a lot of good offensive players in this draft. And I never thought about that until today when I start going over all the draft players and who could go high and who could stay in the draft. And teams might start reaching for these offensive players early because they don't think they're going to, there's a need for a lot of teams needing wide receivers and running backs. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
So just kind of to circle back around about last week's conversation, we had a lengthy conversation about food joints in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners hit us up this week, and he lives out in Alaska. It's he goes by In Reggie We Trust on Twitter, so shout out to you. But he says when he's in the Bay Area, the place he stops at is Casper's Hot Dogs in Hayward. I don't know about you, I'm not a big hot dog guy, but I do like Casper's. Have you ever been to this spot?
I have. Which Casper's with a C or Casper's with a K?
Good question. Yeah, it's the
was the question.
The Caspers with a C.
That was the question because there is a difference and there's a story behind that, and I don't think we have enough time here for me to sit and tell it because I used to be, as you guys know, I'm a PCO pest control operator, and the Caspers was one of my accounts for many years, and so there is a story behind the Caspers with a C and the Caspers with a K.
You have to tell the story
now you got to tell the story.
I have the story. I know the story. So when you got time, we'll talk about it. But basically, I like them both. I like Caspers. Yeah, I do. It's one of them things that where you feel like, okay, I want a hot dog and I want to buy a hot dog because who buys hot dogs unless you at a football game or a baseball game or a basketball or a sporting event? Like, who buys a hot dog? You know what I'm saying? So you got to be in a mood to go buy a hot dog. And I guess if you want to buy a hot dog, then Casper's would be a place that you would buy a hot dog. Yeah, most definitely.
What's the story, man? You got a short version of it? Is there a pest control issue we need to be worried about?
The short version, Casper's was owned by one man. He had two sons, and when he died, he split he gave his sons the business. And so they couldn't get along, so they split the stores up, and one changed the name to a K, and the other one kept the C. And then one changed the hot dogs to all beef, and the other one changed the other one kept the hot dogs, whatever little hot dogs they got right now. So the Caspers with a K, I don't fuck with because I don't like they hot dogs. But the Caspers with the C is the original Caspers with the real hot dogs and the way they do it. And though the K never really changed, he just changed the meat and not nothing else. I would stick with the C. But I don't work for Casper, so I'm not trying to help y'all. You know what I'm saying?
There it is.
So,
stick with the OG. Just whenever in doubt, you stick with the OG.
Got it, right.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Mark's Hot Dogs in San Jose. You can find them on Alamoc Avenue. They've been around for years. You can't miss them. It's just a big orange ball. It's kind of like a drive-through spot. They got picnic benches out there. They got the fire chili dog out there.
There you go.
Mark's Hot Dogs. I started going there with my dad. Every once in a while, I get to ride along with him at work. Mark's Hot Dog Day for sure. But yeah, I always like talking about food, man. Maybe that's why I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm always on a diet, I guess.
It's because you're on a diet. That's why you talk about food, bro.
I'm always eating. I'm always eating. Hey, I think about food even when I'm not even hungry. I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat next.
Right?
You got
Matter
that.
of fact, hey, let me real quick. Everybody in the Bay Area. There's a burger spot. I don't know if y'all know about it. It's called Super Duper Burger. That motherfucker's on hit. I'm telling you, you need to check him out. Yeah, Super Duper Burger. It's in San Francisco. It's in the South Bay, and they just opened one in the East Bay.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? But
I saw a spot called Super Burgers. I was up in Roanoke Park, Sonoma area this week, and I saw a place called Super Burgers up there. I didn't get a chance to hit it up. Is it Super Burger or Super Duper Burger? Because we got to clarify this.
Google Super Duper Burger.
Okay.
If y'all right there in front of y'all lap, Google Super Duper Burger.
There it is.
It's gonna come up. There you go. You found it. It's right there. It should come right up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're in the South Beach area. They're in the financial district.
Those are some good hamburgers, man. I'm telling you, hey, Cain is a burger connoisseur, baby. They call me cheeseburger. Some of my homeboys call me cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, cheeseburger telling you, that's a spot right there.
This
now,
looks
I
like
ain't saying it's better than some of these other places, but Super Duper Burger is good. Check it out.
This looks like In-N-Out on steroids.
This
looks good.
That one of these days.
This looks good. All right. Well, I'm glad I didn't go to Super Burger because it was a Super Duper. And you hit the Super Duper Burger. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Super Duper.
Oh shit.
Clarify. Well, man,
Super Duper Burger, baby. Yeah, that's it right there. Super Duper Burger.
Once again, it's I'm hungry, so it must be Cain's Corner. For sure. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on this week.
Next week, I'm gonna tell y'all another burger.
Yeah, do that.
I'm going to give you another burger spot next week so y'all can hit that one up. All you Bay Area natives, I got your back. Your burger connoisseurs, I got you, baby.
Yeah.
Every week I'm going to give you somewhere to go get you a good burger and fries from.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? I got you.
All right. Best milkshake in the Bay Area next week, too. I want to hear that one.
Oh.
Best milkshake in the Bay Area. You give me that next week as well with the burger. Good burger needs to come with a good milkshake.
Always.
In my opinion. But yeah, man, it's been.
Hey, you know what? If I could crack y'all up right now because I just had Nation's bacon cheeseburger with fries and a vanilla milkshake for dinner right before y'all called. I just got through eating the last bite. So I mean, call me cheeseburger, baby. 'Cause that's what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you dip your fry in the vanilla milkshake?
Yes, I do. Boy, the salt with the vanilla, with the ice cream. Oh man, come on, that's some old school shit from the 1970s, man.
I knew I fucked with you for a reason, man. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one on this podcast. What about you, Che?
I've never done it, man, but now I got to. But now I got to. Yeah. Now I got to do it, man. Now I got to do it.
You consider yourself. You've been put on notice.
Now I got to do it, man.
All right. Well, we'll check in with you next week on that.
Yeah, we'll do. Now, let's see if I go get a burger sometime between then and now.
Well, word up, man. Thanks for joining us again this week, Cain. It's been fire. It's been good. It's been a lot of fun.
It's always a pleasure, my brothers. It's always. I can't wait till the season starts and I'll start seeing you motherfuckers every week.
Yeah.
Y'all faces.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing your voice, motherfucker. I want to see a face. I want to grab a beer.
Yeah.
I want to drink a beer and say what's up, slap five. You know what I'm saying? Smoke a joint. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. Oops, I probably shouldn't have said that on air. But hey, you know, maybe sometime we might taste it a little bit. I mean, we don't always do it, but you know, here and there and then. It's a Raider game. We want to get lit for the game. You know. So
I'm looking forward to broadcasting out there from the D-Lot with you.
Hell
Man. That's
yeah.
gonna be cool. It's gonna be real cool. So yeah, man, I can't wait to see your face too. We got to get a barbecue going here maybe before the season starts to get a little Pillager meetup, little off-season barbecue, little post-draft celebration possibly. So
sounds like a plan right
Let's
there,
stay
man.
tuned for that. We got to meet up somewhere. So yeah, man, you take care of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Have a good weekend, and
y'all take care too, my brothers, and one love, and I'll holler at y'all next week.
All right, brother. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders, brother.
All right, go Raiders, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little technical difficulty, but you know what? It's worth it, bro.
It's all good, man.
It's worth it, bro.
It's all good.
You got the good homie on the phone. You sit through it.
Yeah,
You
hell
should
yeah.
do it.
Hell yeah.
This is about what he's saying, not what's crackling.
That's it.
But maybe that's the new thing. What's crackling?
What's crackling? Your mic.
What's percolating? What's percolating?
There you go with that E40 kid. One of these episodes, man, you just have to do a whole segment in E40 voice, man.
Fonz, really? Vitalo, but this bitch. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the new E40 Be Legit album dropped.
There you go.
It's about
Perfect-
goddamn time they did.
Perfect
an album
segue, man. Perfect segue.
together. You know?
Yeah.
It's about time they did a full record together, and I was listening to it today at work. I had to turn it off because I couldn't get. I was trying to type my reports. I couldn't think to type the report because I was too hyped up on the music.
Yeah.
You ever done that?
Yeah.
So I had to put something on with no words, something
Yeah.
real mellow, and then once I got in the whip, I was like, psh,
Throw that back on.
slappers
Yeah, throw that back on.
for sure. So yeah, Kane's Corner lit as always. It's time for the I see you.
I see you.
This I see you moment comes from Just Fire Baby, JFB. Not his first time in the I see you spot. This one's neither good nor bad. You be the judge. But I want your reaction to this, Che.
Okay.
Let's see if you remember this name, because this is a callback to about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, he was a guy, wasn't here too long. Let's see if you remember. JFB says on the blog today, on pj4f.com, by the way, most of our ICU takes come from.
Right.
He says, Conley isn't anything but a first-round pick who played 80 snaps. He isn't a steal, a bust, or a good or bad player. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
He is just Armin Shields so far.
Damn. See? I don't remember. I don't even remember that guy, man.
So Armin Shields, we drafted. I had to refresh my memory on the year. He was drafted in the first round of 2008 by the Oakland Raiders. He ran the second fastest 40-yard dash at the combine that year.
Of course. I mean, we were famous for taking the fastest possible player.
Perfect fit.
Right?
He was shortly placed on injured reserve along with Drew Carter and Orrin O'Neal and CB John Bowie. I remember Bowie. He was waived July 29th, 2009. So for right now, he is Armin Shields. Hopefully, come July, he's Gary Conley.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that the reasons why they were drafted were drastically different.
Very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a guy that is considered one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the draft, and he was drafted for his talents, his ability, not necessarily his speed. And back then, we were famous for taking the fastest guy because Al Davis said, I can't teach running, but I can teach everything else, right? So
I need a fast car.
yeah. You can't teach fast. Yeah. Apparently fast can't learn either, but
Yeah. Sometimes it just flies right by them. Too quick to pay attention.
you hear that, Rocket Ishmael?
I'm going to get a shirt that says too quick to pay attention. Everything's a blur.
All
at
the
this
words
speed.
go by too quickly, man. I can't read that book. I'm too fast.
That's how I was at about 10:30 this morning. I had 3 cups of coffee. I was just too fast to pay attention at that point.
There you go.
There's a point where you've had too much caffeine and now you are anti-productive.
You're just sitting there and you can't keep still. You're just shaking. You pick something up, you put it down. You pick something else up, you put it down.
Yeah, I was
Switching pages like nobody's business.
It was a Kenny Stapler bobblehead night at about 10:30 this morning in my office. But I did smash out that report. It happened.
There you go.
Let's do some shout-outs.
Yeah, shout outs.
Shout out. Shout out to Raiders Fangirl. Thanks for the follow. Oni Monk, Matty Matt 52. Shout out to Cinnamon Girl, Curtis XL Ewing. That's a hard name right there. Curtis XL Ewing. Did the Raiders win? That's his name. Yet to be determined.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rob Dizzle 50. There's apparently 49 other Rob Dizzles that came before him. Shout out to King Dominic. Raiders since 06. Shout out to G Saucedo, Skip Weaver, Leo Monkey, Cesar Garcia, Randy Rand, Mikey C, Blitz Chick, Michael Forrester, John Mojica or Molica. I don't know what your ethnicity is, bro.
Is it the double L?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the double L. Let's go with Yika.
I'm going Mojica. Yeah, I like that. Shout out to Raider Mario. Shout out Gary Eakin Jr., R. Lizarraga. Shout out to Murph from Raiders Fan Radio. I'll be talking to you soon. Shout out to Sith Lord, Matt Tritton, Fred Clubber Lang.
Yeah, I like that one.
Shout out to Raider Nation 24/7, Donald Day, Don Fletcher, and last but not least, shout outs to Raider Mike at Suey Raider. Follow Raider Mike. He's a cool ass dude on Twitter. I mean, I want to say more about him, but he's really just like a cool ass dude.
That's it. That's all that has to be said.
I'll fire up his picture here in a minute for you, Che. You just one look at this guy, you know what you get.
Cool ass dude.
Yeah,
it's a cool ass dude.
Raider Mike. Thanks for the follow, guys. Also, much love to everyone listening out in New York. I was asked to give some special love to New York. A lot of these shout outs are New York Raider fans that I've noticed.
Okay.
There's quite the contingency of Raider fans out in New York.
They call us the nation for a reason, man.
You're right. You're
it's
right.
The nation.
But especially New York.
Yeah. Shout out, y'all.
Shout out to the BK. Shout out to the BX, Manhattan, Staten Island, Long Island, Queens.
All over the place, man.
Everywhere.
All over the place.
You been to New York?
I have. You
lucky son of a bitch.
I've been to New York once. I went out there to visit my former roommate, my former college roommate. He lives out there. Mm-hmm. I went out there to celebrate his not his 21st. I went out there to celebrate his birthday, which is on the 31st of March. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, we had a blast. He lived in Brooklyn, man. So
is he a Raider fan?
He's not.
Aye.
He's not. You know what though? He's not really a football fan in general.
Okay.
And he's more of a basketball fan.
Gotcha.
And his team is Portland Trailblazers.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, man, we had a blast, man.
Yeah.
New York is crazy.
I need to get out
crazy.
there, man.
We went to the Brooklyn Bowl for his birthday. It was like a pre-party before his actual birthday.
Damn.
Right? So we went to the Brooklyn Bowl, and Questlove was DJing.
For
man.
real?
It was the shit.
Damn.
Yeah, it's literally a bowling alley,
but
they have a gigantic dance floor.
Oh,
and
shit.
a DJ set. They got a couple bars.
That sounds fresh.
Yeah.
That sounds fresh.
It was on point, man.
Our bowling alleys are straight depressing around here, dude. Real depressing.
Yeah. No, not this one. This one was legit, man.
If you're
best bowling alley I've ever been to.
If you're trying to meet 12 guys named Marge and one Maggie, I'll show you the bowling alley you're looking for.
Oh, man. But yeah, man, New York's the shit, man.
I understand you got some shout-outs.
Yes, we got some IG shout-outs.
IG.
You know, since you put that responsibility on me.
That's it.
Ricky Bobby.
Delegation, bro.
The delegations. You got to have that one on. You got to make sure you got that sample next. Shout out to Raider Rich 35, Kobos Raider, The True Real Deal 21.
Damn.
Oakland Raiders Fan Club, and the NW Raider. Thank you for the follow, and we appreciate everybody, man. We appreciate it. And if you are listening and you haven't followed us and you want to get a shout out, you know what to do.
Yes, you do. Make sure you follow us online on Twitter or IG.
There you go.
Or come aboard at PJ4F. If you're brand new, we'll know who you are.
And we're on Facebook too. You know, we have all the Facebook issues going on right now, but
yeah,
we ain't going nowhere. We just posted Raider stuff. So.
Yeah, man. If you're still diehard Facebook, do follow us over there on Facebook. I try to post the links on there every week. Sometimes I forget, bro, because like I said, I'm not really on Facebook, but I try to get them up there. But yeah, hit us up, man. Drop us a line. We're also on Reddit. You can find me on Reddit, Kenny Stapler. I'm probably gonna start our own subreddit over there. So just a place to post our content.
Yeah.
So if you're more of a Reddit person and you're comfortable in that forum, you can join us over there too. That'd be cool. But yeah, man, it's been real cool. And a special shout out to Kobos. who's following us on IG. That's a double follow.
There you go.
So you get double mention.
Follow us everywhere, man.
That's it.
Everywhere that we can be followed.
But don't follow me to work. I got a new job. It's going to be weird. It's going to be real weird. But my new job is going to be out in San Jose. So if you listen to the show and you're from San Jose and you want to meet up, hey, I'm out there. I'm going to be out there Monday through Friday. So hit me on Twitter, man. Message me. I leave the inbox open. One thing I got to say about our show and just our clique in general, you, Cain, myself, and everybody kind of involved with PJ4F.com. We really pride ourselves on fan interaction. You know, we say it at the beginning of every show, for Raiders fans, by Raiders fans. We don't call ourselves insiders. Every once in a while, I get a source that drops me a line, but that's not really what we're here for.
Right.
We're here to kind of spark the conversation, bring the conversation to the air, the conversations that we're seeing online, the conversations we're having out in the streets every day, and really kind of just echo that sentiment that's out there with Raider Nation, and of course all the conversations that happen at the tailgate, because that's where it really goes down.
Yeah.
But spread the word. We really appreciate. We've seen the reviews going up on iTunes. We got some reviews now in the Google App Store now that the app's launched, and we really appreciate that stuff. Like we said, we don't get a paycheck, so that's the closest thing to a paycheck we get is your gratitude, and we really appreciate it. So
hell yeah. If
you at me on Twitter, if you at Che, if you message us on Instagram, Che's really on the IG more than I am. We're gonna get back to you, man.
Yeah,
we don't ghost folks. Yeah, we want to talk to you.
Hell yeah.
So don't be afraid, don't be scared, and of course call in every week. So
yeah,
we like that too, man.
Yeah, we like it all, man.
Yeah,
all encompassing.
We're just guys.
Yeah, we're just a couple of dudes talking Raiders and other stuff.
That's it. We try to mix it up here and then. But hell of a show, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, always a great time, man.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. So I'm excited for the next couple of weeks, man. But yeah, that's it. Again, tune in every week wherever podcasts are found. You can call and leave a message. You'll be playing on air, 408-909-PJFF. Make sure to get dipped in pillaging gear. Head over to pj4f.com/shop. I put the t-shirt out on Twitter. Got some good responses. Hopefully you get some orders out there. Steb and Tony are going to make that shirt from scratch for you right then and there. I mean, they're not knitting the stuff, but they're silk screening it for you at the very least. It's going to be fresh off the press when you get it. And occasionally they like to throw some free stuff in the box too. So go on over there, get yourself a coffee mug or a shot glass or something, and download the official Pillaging app, available for iOS and now Android. Probably the most convenient way to access the show.
It definitely is, but we definitely appreciate the follows on the Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube and all the other places. So go over there, follow us, get the app, and get your quick listening, man.
Yeah, and don't forget YouTube, because I'm off next week, so I'll be straightening out all of our video issues, and hopefully we will be streaming next Thursday. So if you do listen to the show, you like the show, you kind of want to get a sneak peek to the unedited, raw, in-studio Crow's Nest look.
Raw and uncut.
Go over to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification button so you know when we're going live.
Go.
And that will be interactive too, so we'll be taking some comments possibly while we're on air. So that might be a brand new segment for the show. I know the show's long. Hey, it ain't getting any shorter.
It ain't.
That's what she said.
Ain't getting any shorter, man. And we're proud of that.
We're
proud of that.
Yeah, be proud. Proud. I'm not going to go any further on that. You can see the words falling out of my mouth right now, but we said enough.
Oh, man.
Anyways, I'm Kenny Stapler, joined as always
by your boy Chick.
We out here.
Peace.
Go Raiders.